Today we are
Hello.
talking about Saddam Hussein and the First Persian Gulf War. For those of you that don't know, this is Saddam Hussein. He was dictator of Iraq. He was a Ba'athist, and he was all around a very interesting guy. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So, Saddam was really into the military and also American media. He made special troops that had a Darth Vader-like helmet because he thought that was cool. He built a cannon to try to shoot stuff into space because he wanted a space program, and he also got his country embroiled in a 10-year-long war against Iran, which was basically, World War One in the Middle East, as you can see with the trench.
Hell yeah.
He was also really into buying Soviet equipment that cost way too much money. We'll get to that later. And the guy standing next to him in that picture, that's Uday Hussein. Uday Hussein was also known as the rapist of Baghdad. His favorite hobby was driving around Baghdad looking for a wedding so he could go in and just rape the bride in front of the entire thing because he was the son of a dictator. He was a goddamn fucking psychopath.
Okay.
Saddam Hussein was trying. Baathism is the idea of a pan-Arab nationalist party that is more, liberal and has socialist tendencies than, the Muslim republics or emirships that dominate the Middle East today. The person currently and today from 2021 who is still a Ba'athist is Bashar al-Assad, dictator of Syria. But Saddam Hussein was working his way up in early.
Al-Assad, that's the guy from Call of Duty, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Saddam Hussein, through mid 20th century politics, was working his way up to be, leader of Iraq. He was vice president for a while until he encouraged the president of Iraq to step down. And then this image right here is when he became president of Iraq, in order to make everyone believe that he is a good leader and develop a cult of personality. He claimed there was a conspiracy against him, had a general walk out and announce he was a part of a conspiracy, and then start reading names off of people in the crowd, and they were dragged off to go get killed. And it was just at random. And at that point, people, in order to not get their name called, started just chanting, "We love you, Saddam, we love you, Saddam." So he generated a cult of personality through fear, and that's what dictators do. Next slide, please. This is the Bathurst logo. As you can see, there is the pan-Arab for the entire Arab world, united into an idea of, a liberal, socialist, Arab forward democracy. But really didn't turn out like that because it has a bunch of dictators, like Bashar al-Assad or Saddam Hussein.
Good guys.
Good guys. So, this is a rusted out version of a T72 tank. The T72 tank was a very expensive tank he bought from the Soviet Union, and he used it for people like his Republican Guards and a bunch of different military units. He really, really, really liked spending money on his military. Really liked spending money on his military because military is cool, and you can't make everyone fear you if you don't have the best military in the area.
Not right, Christian. Anyways.
So he built something called the Republican Palace, as you can see here, which was basically his governor home. And if it looks familiar to you, that's because it was modeled by the movie The Dictator to look like the dictator's, home in that movie. But really, it's the Republican Palace. It was extremely expensive, and glorified Saddam's, glory and good leadership for Iraq. He also built a bunch of secret palaces all throughout, like basically just pleasure domes, where that common knowledge he tried to tape a bunch of PS2s together to make a supercomputer. Man was a goddamn genius.
Honestly, it was a visionary.
Here's a
I thought it was
Republican Guard.
PS4s.
What?
Christian.
What?
I thought it was PS4s that he taped together.
No.
He was dead in 2006.
Oh.
I think the PS3 hadn't even come out yet.
Oh.
So featured here is the Republican Guard. It's Iraq's elite military unit. Yeah, you can tell by the triangle, that's how they denoted the Republican Guard. Also here, there's a man with an AK-47
Is
his
there
handle
supposed to be
card.
video that I'm not getting?
Yeah.
We're streaming it through Discord.
We told
Oh,
you
I
to.
can't see it.
Wait, are we recording a podcast?
This is going by really quick. I thought people would have way more input, but this is just me running through it.
Yeah. It's okay. It's not a podcast. It's a talk cast. I don't fucking know. Anyways, Christian, what do you think of the first Iraq Gulf War?
It sucked. My cousin was a EOD tech.
Oh, well, yeah, that would have sucked.
In the first or the second,
I don't remember.
they have extreme differences between them, Christian.
I'm not entirely sure. He got a fucking award for it.
Was it like in the 90s or in the 2000s?
2000s.
It was the second.
It was the
okay.
second. Okay. God, we get you on as an expert on the goddamn podcast, and you don't even know what each Gulf War is.
No, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what we're talking about.
We're talking about the first Persian Gulf War.
Oh, okay.
We get freaking expert guest Christian. He's like, wait, we're doing a podcast?
Yeah.
Look, I got fucking shanghaied into this.
I'm eating Cheetos while we're recording a podcast. We're only 7 minutes in. Fuck.
Wow, it's only been 7 minutes? Holy
Yes.
shit. This is
All
a
right, we're
long
doing it
fucking
live.
7
Let's
minutes.
go. We're
Live.
streaming on Twitch now.
Yeah. Streaming on Twitch, baby.
So, fun fact, that guy holding the gun with the wooden handle, that's called a Romanian dong. Christian, how do you feel about the Romanian dong?
I don't know what it looks like, but I'm
Turn on the
against
Turn on the
stream.
stream. We're streaming.
it. What stream am I supposed
On
to turn on?
Discord. We've got it like...
I'm on Discord. There's nothing.
Yes, there is.
Is it on meme?
No, it's you have to click on me and click on view stream.
VF is epic. Nope, doesn't say anything. Can't
Is it
view
because you're on
stream.
mobile?
Are you on your
I'm
phone?
on my phone.
Oh, oh my god. Why are you on your phone?
Because I didn't want to grab my laptop.
He's on his phone and he's playing PS4. Ah, God. This truly is the best of times.
All right. Well, Romanian dong. Okay, next slide.
Here, I'm just gonna text you the pictures, Christian.
This is the Republican Guard for all of those wondering. Next slide, please. For all of you who are kind of confused, this man looks like George W. Bush because he's George H.W. Bush. So, for those of you who don't know, George H.W. Bush was Ronald Reagan's vice president. He was also a senator and a congressman.
Ronald
before.
Reagan.
Ronald Reagan was a president of the United States. He was also a very evil man. Do not trust Ronnie.
What's the United States?
It is a country in North America,
What's North America?
a continent on Earth,
What's Earth?
a planet.
What's a planet? Anyway.
Off topic, but do you guys ever like just suck on a Cheeto and you just suck in all that cheese juice?
Sometimes. You know, Kelly was telling me, Markiplier talks about how he ate Takis, and that's what he did. He would just suck on the Taki until all the flavor's out and then put it back in the bag. He wouldn't eat them. He would just suck the flavor off of them. It's like, I cannot think of a more disgusting thing than just a bag full of, like, saliva, like, sucked Takis. Ugh. Just disgusting.
You know, I was telling Christian the other day, and he nearly threw up in my car. That
He nearly threw it in the car. God.
I once had
When
a
did I almost throw up in your car?
What?
When did I almost throw up in your car?
So it was a time where I was talking about when I had the UTI, and basically I just kind of imagined like.
Oh yeah. How fucking disgusting you are.
Yeah, it is. So it sucks, but like it feels weird and it's gross and it's just like, man, I should really like, wash out sex toys more often. But sometimes, it was
Yeah,
fun to just.
Mercy, that's fucking disgusting.
You're just not figuring this out.
But sometimes it was fun to like drag your finger along the base of like the dick like vein where like all the liquid goes and just let all the pus kind of roll out your dick and just kind of spew out.
Oh, God. This is a PG podcast.
Anyway, so George H.W. Bush was vice president to Ronald Reagan. He was also a man who trained himself for his entire career to be ready for international diplomacy. He was ready for a world against the Soviet Union. He was a CIA director. He had a bunch of effort put into being the best political international diplomat he could be. And then all of a sudden the Soviet Union is nearing on collapse. So you got to focus on more, internal politics, and he wasn't really ready for that. He was ready for very much a life like his. Is it showing Christians, or is that your game?
What?
Hades?
Oh, I was just changing this.
Oh. Yeah, people were just like, oh, is he streaming Hades? And there's just a picture of George H.W. Bush. Anyway, so he is thinking he needs to adjust his entire policy, but all of a sudden, here comes a diplomatic incident.
The fuck?
Hell yeah. Haas. Let's go. So, he is preparing and watching the situation in Iraq very closely because Iraq, at this time, is technically our friend because we don't like Iran because of the Iranian hostage crisis. But, let's go on to the next slide. There's this little thing that Saddam has that's a major problem, and that is money. He is in crippling debt, and he needs to buy more shit so he can continue building his big dick army. And the thing is that he's about to basically default on a bunch of payments, and he only has a few days, and he needs about, a couple of millions of dollars, which is, chump change. So he sees that his little neighbor, Kuwait, who is a mere ship, and is very oil rich, is also very cash rich. And you're just like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just go take it. What are they going to do? Stop me? So, that concerns, well, Kuwait's invaded, it's taken in mere hours. And then, as you can see, Vice President Dan Quayle, who is George H.W. Bush's vice president, is with the King of Saudi Arabia, which is the next, next door neighbor who has a lot of money and a lot of oil. So they're obviously concerned, and the entire world is just like, oh wait, hey,
Piece of shit.
what?
Nothing, not you.
Playing For Honor, and he can...
Oh,
last podcast he had 8 minutes of talking time. This podcast he's gonna have like 1 minute. I'm like, God damn it, fuck.
yeah, his Cheetos are pretty good.
They are really good. We've gone through this entire bag in like a half hour.
Anyway, so the world is obviously just like, wait, Saddam, no, you can't do that. And you're like, what are you going to do about it?
Bitch.
I bet you won't do anything about this. It's Kuwait. Who cares about Kuwait? I'm Iraq. So, obviously, next slide, please. He announces that he's annexed Kuwait as the new province of Iraq, and has always been Iraq, and this is my money, and I want to pay for my tanks. Everyone's now extremely concerned, and this is going to the United Nations. This is an era of great United Nations cooperative actions, mainly in Iraq and also in the Balkans, because, the major large power at this time is just still NATO, because the Soviet Union is basically dissolving or dissolved whenever these incidents happen. So, next slide, please. We get those guys I was talking about, Saudi Arabia. They're concerned about the Iraqis invading, so we initiate Operation Desert Shield, in which we have U.S. troops stationed in the desert as a defensive line to protect Saudi Arabia from being invaded. This is the first time American troops were ever allowed in Saudi Arabia. And we're there to protect them so we can get our oil. And here pictured is the Ghoulmeister himself taking handshakes and stuff from U.S. Marines just on Operation Desert Shield. And this is a complete, relative change in the idea of the Army than what was done decades prior, where it was a bunch of, baby killers and stuff like that, because this is post-Vietnam War. And, RC, take it away.
Okay. Post-Vietnam War. Military. George H.W. Bush. Anyways, so how you doing, buddy? That's good.
Who are you talking to?
You. Matt just left me again.
Oh.
He's having a hard time today.
Is he just shitting?
No, he's just his dad keeps calling him.
Oh.
You know how that be.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, hello to everybody watching on Twitch. Oh, fuck my
Hello,
eye.
everyone. Hello, all one people, and it's probably not Kelly.
No, there's two people, and I don't think Kelly's watching. That's okay. But yeah, so they just, I guess the military wasn't as, hated anymore because Vietnam and shit. I don't know. He kind of, to be honest, Christian, he just kind of mapped out this entire thing, and in a half hour, he's just like, yeah, episode 2, we're just going to make a PowerPoint and just, talk about the goal for it. And I'm just like, okay, Matt. And he's got the whole goddamn thing memorized. And, he just fucking goes. You just put him on the tracks, and he just fucking goes. And then he's like, all right, take it away. And it's just like, I don't know what to do. What do you want me to do?
You're the one who planned it.
Yeah, pick up the train of thought where you left off. No, I can't do that. So, here we are. Anyways.
Oh, no. Anyways.
Hello.
Okay, take it away, champ.
Okay.
You
So,
talking to me again?
I don't know
Oh.
what point you're left off at, but so we're basically protecting Saudi Arabia. But then we decide as a coalition of the willing to go in and take down Saddam and get him out of Kuwait. So, next slide, please. Here is the coalition of willing. Can you name all the countries? 5 Zimbabwean dollars, if you can name all the countries.
USA, Britain, Germany, France, Poland, Saudi Arabia, Argentina. What? Why was Argentina in that?
Anyway, so they're going to go in and they're going to invade Iraq and get him out of Kuwait. Next slide, please. This man,
Jesus.
his name is Norman Schwarzkopf, also known as Stormin' Norman. He gets his name from Operation Desert Storm, which we're about to do. He will be an iconic general who, basically pulls off this fantastic feat that saves the American military from the problems it had with reputation after the Vietnam War. Next slide, please. This is a Game Boy. I put this in here mainly because I thought Kelly would want to talk about it. But Kelly left. So
I don't blame her, honestly.
All right, next slide, please. It got blown up.
Kelly-
Air War.
Kelly left and Christian was never here.
RC, do the air war.
F-15s and F-16s, yo. I don't think the Iraqis...
What the fuck did you send, Ben?
What? I don't think the Iraqis really had that
You're
much
just
of an air
talking out
force.
here.
Most of their shit was old, so F-15s just kind of blew it the fuck up. That's where they have like a 500 to 0 kill ratio, because we've never had one shot down, and they've just shot down like 100 planes, and I think most of it just comes from the first Gulf War, because that's where the Iraqis still actually had an air force. So, yeah.
Yeah, so basically, we destroy a bunch of major assets with with a bunch of airstrikes and severely cripple the Iraqis. Now, the Iraqis are thinking, well, this is going to be a problem, but we do know Americans can't take casualties and can't do long-term attrition. So they go ahead and dig in, and they dig in nice and tight with their tanks and their Republican Guard, in order to basically kill as many Americans and coalition troops as possible in order to either slowly advance or create a shift in public opinion. Next slide, please. Here's their digging. That is a tank destroyer. That's a Soviet tank destroyer. That Saddam liked buying Soviet tanks, and they dug in nice and tight. There is...
it's a 122 millimeter howitzer.
Hell yeah. So, we got to talk about the T72 versus the M1A1 Abrams. Now, they were both made at the exact same time. They were made to combat each other. They were developed similar times, similar development periods, and they were both basically thinking, well, this is the tank that's going to go up against each other. So this is the first time we ever get to test a Soviet tank and American tank designed to go against each other. And it goes pretty well, right? Nah, the Abrams fucking rules. The Battle of 73 East thing is going to be the largest modern tank battle since World War II. It basically pits the Abrams up against the T-72 tank, and the T-72 tank, the problem is that it has a hand-cranked turret, and the Russians will say that it is... If there were Russian crews in those tanks, they would have done better, but I feel like that's just to save face. Clearly, the better machine developed out there in the field was the M1A1 Abrams, hence why it's still used today when it was designed in the 70s. So, yep. Next slide. Here is a map of all of the coalition troops and divisions moving in, basically taking Kuwait and moving into Iraq and locking down a decent perimeter to free Kuwait. And at that point, the war was basically ended. They weren't going to go into and basically topple the Saddam regime. They thought that would destabilize the region too much, so they just freed Kuwait and put Saddam in his place and killed a bunch of Republican Guard and destroyed a bunch of major assets. And... Yay, Squidward. Patrick. My mind's melting.
We did it, Patrick. We saved the city.
Yes.
We saved Kuwait.
Yeah, and almost basically created the climate for someone's son to go in and try to do the exact same thing, and ends up fucking ruining the legacy of beating Iraq, because this basically changes the entire American psyche. Because it used to be, anti-military, anti-this, anti-that, and then we got welcome home parades, and people were just like, yeah, we did it, and USA was back on top. Hence why Woodstock 99 was in a military base, because we had this weird, just like, oh yeah, let's go, Army. And we were the welcome home Vietnam vets, in which, the first time Vietnam vets actually kind of felt like they were a part of a community of veterans is basically, and were recovered in the ideas of the Americans, was basically through the first Persian Gulf War. So it was very important for them as well. But our man George H.W. Bush had a slight problem, and that was our saxophone blowjob machine. Alright, that's it. RC, anything you want to say?
Fuck no.
Thank you. See you next time.